and we want to offer this presentation for the greater glory of God. And we want you to be with us, and we humbly explore your intercession and presence with us at this time. Hail Mary, full of grace, the Lord is with thee. Blessed art thou amongst women, and blessed is the fruit of thy womb, Jesus. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for us sinners, now and at the hour of our death. Amen. Amen. So I want to start off this discussion with a little bit intro to natural family planning. I think most of you might know a little bit about it, or maybe some of you are experts in this. But let's take this, as an opportunity to revisit the topic. So natural family planning, or NFP, as it is known, is actually a method not to plan everything in your family, like your finance or anything, but it is actually a method in which it's a scientific method which helps you to achieve pregnancy, or to space pregnancy. I will never say avoid pregnancy, because a better term would be to space pregnancy. So that is actually this method. This is a very scientific method that has been tested and proved, and a lot of scientific researches has been done in this field. So I want to just go through a little bit about the history of this natural family planning. In the first century itself, we see that the 12 apostles came up with this Didache, in which they clearly teach us about this contraception and all. It condemns contraception, and also other religions like Clement of Alexandria, Origen, Saint Jerome, Saint John Chrysostom. Everybody did the same. Again, we see that in the 5th century, the 4th century and 5th century, we could see Saint Augustine coming with a very bold statement, and he says that intercourse takes place in an unlawful and shameful manner whenever the conception of offspring is avoided. Very strong, right? And again, in 1215, in the 13th century, we see Saint Thomas Aquinas condemning any deliberate action to exclude offspring during the marital embrace. This was confirmed again and again by theologians and all the faiths and the popes through the beginning of the 20th century and all. Now, we see that in 1924 and 1927, between that time, calendar method of family planning is developed in Japan and Austria. This was based on a 28-day cycle for all women, and it's not very effective. I'll tell you why soon. And another landmark that happened was in the year 1930. In the Lambeth Conference, the Anglican Church permitted some forms of birth control in limited circumstances. This limitation is later dropped, and most Protestant denominations now follow suit, and contraception becomes a matter of personal discretion. But in that same year, in Castate Canubai, that is on chaste marriage with Pope Pius XI, he taught that all forms of artificial birth control are intrinsically evil because they disregard the natural law and human biology. And he cites abstinence as the only approved way to space birth. This was the first, thing that caused so much confusion in the media and also among Catholics. When we look into the history of in the US itself, we'll see that in 1936, the US court tossed out most of the Comstock laws which prohibited, since 1873, this prohibition was ruled. So it prohibited the distribution of contraceptives via US mail. And then in 1951, again, we will see that Pope Pius XII approving the periodic abstinence method and calendar method, and he actually asked the physicians to move forward to research on natural family planning. That year itself, we could see the highly effective symptothermal method of natural family planning being formulated. One of the pioneers in this field is Dr. John Billings and Evelyn Billings, his wife Evelyn Billings. They come from Australia. They took up this because their pastor asked them to do a research on this, so that the Catholics can follow a scientific method. And he came up with this ovulation method, which could be supported also by the other symptoms like temperature and all. So we'll come to that very soon. But we see that it was after this that comes, in 1960 only the birth control pill was approved. by the FDA and comes into general use. But immediately, almost immediately, there were reports regarding the negative side effects. In 1963, we see the population, the Pontifical Commission on Population, Family and Birth Rate is formed by Pope John the 23rd to discuss and formulate recommendations. This was later expanded by Paul VI. In 1964, US government passes legislation providing birth control for the poor. But still at that time, it was illegal in 8 states. But in 1965, this legalization of birth control came to vogue in all the states. Then at the same time itself, the Holy Father made a pontifical commission of issues to do a study and a report. Following that, 1968, we see Pope Paul VI making a bold step, and he comes up with Humanae Vitae, in which he reaffirms that each act of marital intimacy must keep together unitive and procreative aspects of human sexuality. Artificial methods are unacceptable, and they disconnect the two. In 1979, again, John Paul II reaffirms this. From 1979 to 1984, we see Pope John Paul II coming up with his famous talks on theology of the body, greatly expanding the church teaching. In 1995, we see Pope John Paul II bringing up Evangelium Vitae, which came when I was in med school. I still remember how I used to read it with much vigor, and I was very much enlightened by the Pope's teaching. And it was after his exhortation that we, Jesuit, actually started the pro-life ministry and everything. And the other two popes also, Benedict XVI and also our current Pope, exhorting the same thing, that we should be for life or pro-life. So with that intro, I want to take you to the main discussion, that is natural family planning method. So I want to share my screen so that all of you could see some PowerPoints. Let me see. So just like I told you, the natural method, it is very scientific, and also much research has been done on it. So let's see what actually it is based on. There are many natural methods in vogue. The first, let me give you an overview about the natural methods. I hope all of you can see the screen, right? Yes, okay. So withdrawal method, that is when withdrawal method, rhythm method, then the thermal, mucus, ovulation, symptothermic, and two-day method, and cycle based. We will focus tonight's discussion mainly on the mucus ovulation method. But let me give you an overview about what the other things are. When we say that we are following natural method, a wide number of the population, most of the people are following something known as contraception, and they think that contraception prevents conception, but that's not the way it works. Contraception is not contra-conception. Most of the contraceptive actually prevents the embryo that was formed after fertilization. It actually prevents the implantation. So we should say why the church says that, or the church teaching on this contraception. Otherwise, there will be a lot of questions regarding why NFP and all those stuff. So what the church teaches is that the church teaches us about the responsible parenthood, that the parents who have received this sacrament of holy matrimony, they are given this grace to take decisions in their family. So one of the major issues, like to do the family size, how many kids we need, how would our family be. So the church teaches that we can actually, with our free will, choose our family size based on health, wealth, and need of the nation. So health, like, if one of the couple is going through a very severe health issue, which say that if you become pregnant, you may die. In that case, you can actually avoid pregnancy but still come into the marital embrace. Uh, and the other, these conditions are very, very rare. Then the next is wealth. If you think that you cannot support one more child, okay, you can avoid pregnancy. But the church, as a mother and as a teacher, she always encourages to be generous with our time, with our wealth, and all the talents that we have been given. So even though it is a choice, I think this should be done with prudence. And need of the nation. Need of the nation, I would say that this is the time when almost all the countries in the world have their population, actually the birth rate going very low. In most of the European countries, it's 0 or even negative. America is only one developed country that has the population, the birth rate 2.34, something like that. That's mainly due to the Hispanic population, maybe because of our Indian or maybe the recent people too. So we will also contribute to it anyway. So actually, if you think need of the nation, if you consider this point, we should have more kids. We should have more kids. Otherwise, the ratio of the youth to the aged people will go down. So there will be less young people to support the world. So having said that, let's go to the methods. Under the guise of these contraception, the methods that are available are permanent methods and temporary methods, and also these natural methods, which we cannot call contraceptive, but I just put that in there. Permanent is actually vasectomy and tubectomy, where the tube, or in vasectomy, the tube that transports the sperm is cut and tied, and in tubectomy, the tube that transports the ovum and also the sperm and also the fertilized embryo is cut and tied or banded. So these are methods that tubectomy, some of the tubectomy can be reversed, some with good results and some with lesser, not that good results. But vasectomy, it's very hard, and usually we don't go for that. And there are other methods like condoms, that actually prevents the entry of sperm into the female birth canal. But the thing is that the effectiveness of condom is still debatable. I don't want to go much into those debates. Maybe we can have something later. And also there are these intrauterine devices which, when placed inside the uterus, makes the uterine wall less effective. And also it is actually, everybody knows that a mini abortifacient, which actually creates abortion. And the most very prevalent method is actually the pills, which have lot of risks and disadvantages. I would say that this is one of the most dangerous drugs that if a doctor has to prescribe, he or she has to do a thorough checkup and also get ready to treat most of the side effects. So let's go quickly to the natural methods. The natural methods, as I told you, there are different methods. Withdrawal method is 60% failure rate, in which you withdraw the male genitalia before ejaculation, which is very, 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 it's not at all foolproof. Then there is this rhythm method, in which you see, you count the number of days in the women's cycle, thinking that ovulation happens during mid-cycle, if it's a 28-day cycle. This is also not very foolproof method. And I would always recommend this mucus ovulation method, or the symptothermic method, which is mainly based on the changes that a woman can very well notice during her fertile and infertile time. So the symptothermic method is actually based on three main factors. One is actually the fertile cervical mucus that is present during a particular time in her menstrual cycle. Then basal body temperature, which says that we have a basal body temperature is taken before she wakes up from the bed. So with ovulation, the temperature rises ½ degree to 1 degree. So if she has been recording the temperature, she will know a change in the pattern, which will be elevated till the next period starts. And also other symptoms like tenderness and also this pain when the ovum is released. There are so many symptoms. So let's go to these warning signals that shows that you are actually ovulating. One clear-cut symptom is the cervical mucus. Let me tell you, mucus is actually a fluid that is secreted by the cervix of the female birth canal. And also the other symptoms like increased sex drive, breast tenderness, bloating, swollen vagina, ovulation pain, cervix position, and everything. But if you just simply focus on this mucus, you can clearly pinpoint your ovulation. So what you are seeing right now is actually a pictorial representation of the cyclical pattern of a woman. This happens every month. So if you look clearly, the red thing, that is the menstruation. That means that may be there for 3 to 5 days, which will be followed by dry days where you don't have any secretion. That is infertile time. And then you will see you see a baby stand there. Then you will have a time of secretion of this mucus. The quality and quantity of the mucus changes. Then again, you see that after the peak, then you see 1, 2, 3. After that, again, you see that there is a time when you don't have any secretion, that is infertile. So menstruation, that is a bleeding. Then the initial dry days, then the days you have mucus, and then the later dry days. So let's see what causes these. What causes these secretions and everything? It's actually 2 hormones playing. The first cycle till ovulation is actually guided by estrogen. Then there is an LH surge and then progesterone. So that's how it works. And if you look here, the infertile mucus, as you can see, the mucus is secreted by the cervical glands here. So the infertile mucus is actually a mesh mucus, which is thick and impenetrable, which is acidic and hostile to the sperm, so that the sperms cannot enter. But fertile mucus is actually, it does the other way. These are known as a motorway mucus, which is thin and which looks like the egg white, very thin and stretchy, which actually creates swimming lanes for the sperm to swim. And also it has a kind of a glycogen that actually helps the sperm. It actually gives much vigor to the sperm to swim, so that healthy sperms reach there. If you look here, this is actually the transformation that happens to the mucus. When the mucus secretion starts, the quantity will be very less. Okay, the quantity will be very less, and it will be very thick, tacky mucus. But as the time goes by, the quality of the mucus changes, like it becomes more stretchy, and also the quantity also increases. So initially it is the thick mucus, then less quantity, then it goes on increasing. The quantity goes on increasing, and also the quality, it becomes more stretchable. One day you will see that this mucus you have in the copious amount, and then you will see suddenly there is a decline in the mucus. The mucus altogether stops. So you have the mucus evolving, like thick mucus to the thin mucus. The thinnest mucus, the day you have the most secretion, the end of that day or the end of that day is the time when you will have the ovulation. And the ovulation day, the peak day, it's a day immediately after this highest mucus, you have ovulation, this ovulation day. And following ovulation day, you will have again the dry days. How this works is that if you can pinpoint the ovulation day with this rise of temperature, and also this mucus, you have the fertile mucus that going to disappear, and also the symptoms like a dragging pain that you get from the side of the ovary that actually brings forth ovulation. If you could put together these 3, you can pinpoint ovulation. How this works? The ovulation, actually an ovum is alive in a female's body on the ovulation day, and also maybe 2 days after that. That is, the ovum will be healthy and viable in the most favorable environment for 48 to 72 hours actually. That is, within 3 days the ovum will die. 99.999% of the ovum will die. The same is true for sperm. A sperm will be viable in a female's body with the cervical mucus that is good, that is fertile. It will be viable for 3 days. So listen carefully. If intercourse takes place during the ovulation day and also 2 days after that, 1, 2, 3, you will sure there is high chance of pregnancy. The highest chance of pregnancy is during the ovulation day. And also the sperm can wait actually. If intercourse has taken place in 1, 2, 3 days before ovulation, the sperm can wait. So ovulation day and 2 days after, and maybe ovulation day and 3 days before that. That's the only window in which a woman can get pregnant. Only window. Ovulation day and maybe 3 days before and 2 days after. That's only these 6 days constitute the fertile window of a female. Just for these 6 days, people are taking contraceptives, all the other things, and expose their body to all these hazardous material. So it's really foolishness. And I want to show you this chart. This is a typical chart that all of you have to chart. I always advise them to do this before their marriage. So you can do it on any calendar. We also now have apps for doing this thing on your smartphones. So let's see how you chart it. I hope all of you can see the window, right? Okay. So all the days of periods when you have bleeding should be marked like this, in red color preferably, or any other color. And you can put green arrows on the days when you have no secretion. When you start to see secretion, you can put circles that symbolizes, ovum. Okay. And the ovulation day, that comes immediately after you have the peak secretion, the most copious amount, when you will see there is a vulval swelling, and also, you can really feel the mucus out. And also this ovulation pain and the temperature going up, you can put like this. Ovulation has taken place. The immediately following ovulation, the next days will be dry like this. So you can put all these tick marks on the dry day, and at the end of the which, if pregnancy hasn't taken place, again the periods will start. What are these circles? If you want to space pregnancy, then maybe you wait for the next 3 dry days. 3 dry days, 3 consecutive dry days is the key. Even during lactation, 3 consecutive dry days. You can have intercourse and mark it with I. Okay, and then followed by that, the next day will be wet. That's why you see this blue circle, because of the sperm oozing out. Okay, so you wait that day, and if the next day is dry, again you can have intercourse. That is safe. If that is wet, then you again have to wait. Okay, because if it is happening somewhere here, you don't know. So this is periods, dry days, then the mucus, presence of mucus, ovulation day, then followed by 3 more dry days, then the first safe day, if you want to space pregnancy. But if you want to achieve pregnancy, always go for ovulation day. You will get healthy, smart kids. Okay, this is about the method proper. We will be uploading this soon into our websites, all those things that I have showed you, and you can have a look at it. And also I want to show you something here. There are certain books that you can always read. This is a very vast topic. Much research has been done on it. I want to show you certain books. It's a natural family planning by Sheila Kipling and her husband, John. This is a very good book. If you go and search, you will get it really cheap in Amazon and all. Have a book with you, because I really like the presentation that the way they present everything here. Anybody can understand that, and you can also share it with your friends if they want. And another book is very simple method. Like you have a fast food. This is exactly and simply about the ovulation methods. So they talk about these methods, and also at the end they show you certain stamps and charts which you can use. So this is a very, very good book by Dr. Billings. They also have a website, Dr. Billings and Evelyn Billings, on ovulation method. If you Google, their name comes up first on the natural family planning, the ovulation method. Coupled with the temperature method and the other symptoms, this is one of the best method that is available. There are other methods that are available, like the beads and all. which it's a little bit more complicated. But if you have mastered this method, it is, you have it, you know it. And the best thing about this method is that you don't have to use any other artificial methods that can endanger your health. It's cost effective. And also, another thing is that if you are using this method, the husband's cooperation is very, very well needed. So it actually increases the family bonding. And there are, just because you are obeying God's commandments, the amount of grace that comes into your life is tremendous. And you can see how, God enriches your life. And during these days of abstinence, people say that they go back to their days when they were dating. They have many other methods of sharing their love and intimacy. So I think we have only a few more minutes. So now the floor is open for questions, or if you want any more clarifications, I can do that. Any questions?
If anybody wants to post their questions, they can post it in the chat window if they want.
Yeah, you could post that in the chat window too, so then I can read it and then address the issues. I see everybody on mute.
Please unmute yourself if you have any questions, or I can unmute everybody.
Or you can post questions in the chat window. This is a vast topic. It's very hard to put this in just 30 minutes. I tried my best anyway. Usually you have to go, if you want to take a course on this, it's many sitting and it spans over weeks. We have 5 more minutes. Do you have questions, or do you want me to go over it once again? You have no questions, Toby, this time?
Sindhu Chechi, if you want to go through the any other topic in brief and maybe 5 minutes, we can quickly go through some.
So maybe a little bit about.
I will ask one.
Okay, go ahead.
I know it's a hard one, and church is not giving any exact time. In your thoughts or reflection, how long a couple can do abstinence for any? How long the couple can be on abstinence without having any intercourse?
The scripture says that a woman and a man, that's a husband and wife, they cannot deny this to his or her spouse. I have seen that sometimes, I have also heard many counselings in which some men complain that some women, when they become very pious, they deny them this gift that the Lord has given them. That is not based on scripture. It doesn't have any scriptural basis, because St. Paul clearly states that husband and wife have to use this capacity that the Lord has given them, because this is one of the methods or one of the way in which they share their love with each other. There are many other methods, but this is a very sublime way in which both of them share their love, so that they say that I don't even want to keep my body for myself, which is very private. I am making it open to you. Just like in theology of the body, it is said that, just like Christ said on the cross, this is my body. That's what we do to each other. We give them it is actually right and just that they exercise this function that the Lord has given them. But St. Paul also says that if husband and wife both decide together that they don't want to use this for some time, that they want to use for prayer or something like, you know, if you do a mission trip or something like that, they should come into a consensus together, and then they have to take it. Then they can do it. So I think I explained your question, Torino. So it's based on the context and also the mutual consent of the spouses. Otherwise, you should use it, because this is a way in which, and you know that the sacrament of holy matrimony is only sealed during the first act of marital embrace. If this act is not there, the marriage in itself is invalid, and the marriage could be annulled.
And Sindhu Chechi, there was one more method you said that in the PPT which you didn't explain, right?
That's actually the rhythm method.
No.
You said rhythm method, or the cycle beats, or the 2-day method.
Exactly.
You know, I think. Let me share the screen.
We have less than a minute.
How many minutes do we have? Oh, only 1 minute. So I think it's better you can read, or we will post more readings on these two methods. But I always recommend this ovulation method. And this also, the 2-day method is also based on the ovulation method. It's just an algorithm for you to just calculate. So we will post that soon. And why contraception is condemned is because, you know, in any marital act, there should be this sharing of love, and also, you know, this marital embrace is for sharing of love, and also they should be open to life, open to life. That means that they should not be using any contraceptives, or they prevent it. In all religions, you know, contraceptives are condemned, not only in the Catholic Church. In Hindu mythology, it says that anybody who lies in between a couple is a rakshas or a demon. Who lies in between a couple, you know, only contraceptives. So Hinduism also condemns it. Muslim, you know that to bring a Muslim into this world is something great. And Catholic Church have their own teaching, and which is very beautiful and very well explained. So we will post more on this, and maybe we can close with a prayer. Dear Mother Mary, we bring all the people who are here, and all these married people all over the world. We pray that by your intercession, we will be opening our hearts and minds, and through our journey,